Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about Black Girl Magic. The reason being that there's some things going on that many people don't know about. I got some articles from The Root, and I've been looking through them, and it's really fantastic. I spoke about Ida B. Wells in a previous video, and then Shirley Chisholm as well. Ida B. Wells, in particular, was very forthright in concerning violence upon the African American population during the turn of the century in the years following emancipation, the Jim Crow era, the lynching era. She used her newspaper as a voice to document the evils perpetrated upon African Americans who were attempting to build wealth in their communities following slavery, and then the efforts that white mobs took to smash and destroy that wealth. And so there was economic destruction, economic terrorism used to keep Black people in a one down position in society. And so Ida B. Wells was very fantastic, very much a Renaissance woman, mixing and mingling with notables of the day, Susan B. Anthony, Jane Addams, President William McKinley, Frederick Douglass, W.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, people like that. She was very active. She was an activist. She was a social justice warrior. And so it has continued on through the years, past Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, people like that, Coretta Scott King, and then Shirley Chisholm. And then now that brings us here today, and we can see what's happening in terms of Black Girl Magic. So there's an article at The Root, 19-year-old makes history as youngest person to run for office in Georgia. And it's written by Monique Judge, and it's talking about a 19-year-old Spelman College student and the fact that she is making history. The youngest person to run for office in Georgia after the DeKalb Board of Elections allowed her name to be added to the ballot for the new city of Stonecrest election for city council. And so this is reported by Fox 5 Atlanta, that she was actually challenged by the opposing candidate because of her age. And it looks like she was, her age was rendered okay because the rule was that the candidate has to be of voting age, that she did not have to be, 21 or older. And so her age stood up to that challenge. And so she's on the ballot. Hector has already gained some experience working in the political arena. She worked with the Obama administration to advocate for criminal justice reform. And she worked with the city's United organization to focus on safety issues in minority communities. And so she actually joins other people who have decided to run for office in order to create change where they live. And so now I'm going to talk about a 22-year-old Michigan State University student. And the article, also by Monique Judge, says badass Michigan State student 22 is running for mayor of Detroit. And so Monica Judge is saying that there is a trend of millennials raising the bar and showing that they have what it takes to help institute positive change in the world. And so this 22-year-old Black woman has announced her candidacy for mayor of Detroit. And so this is Myya D. Jones. She has not yet graduated from college at Michigan State University, But she's very active on campus, and she's had a stint as president of the National Panhellenic Council. She had an internship on Capitol Hill with Representative Brenda Lawrence, who is a Democratic representative for Michigan. She's had 2 positions on the board of the National Association of Black Accountants. And then she's also been a Google student ambassador. And she sat on MSU Sexual Violence Advisory Committee. And she has studied in 6 countries. She's a Detroit native, and she's overcome many obstacles. And she says that she's always been involved in civil engagement, but she had been turned off by politics because of the negative stigma around politics in Detroit. And so she said while she was interning in Congress, that's when she decided that it was something that she wanted to do. And that she wants to focus on Detroit's revitalization efforts, but not in the downtown and midtown area. That she wants to focus in the various neighborhoods. She wants people to be able to walk on the street and go to the park. She wants to clean it up. And she wants people to feel a sense of responsibility. And that she feels that Detroit's current administration is doing its job for the most part, but there's room for improvement. And so that's 2 women running for office. I'm going to talk about a third, and this is an article that I also found at the root. St. Louis mayoral candidate pens savage letter to city paper about its systemic racism. And this is written by Jason Johnson regarding Tishaura Jones. And so on April 4th, the city of St. Louis will have its first mayoral election since the Ferguson protest in 2014. And so I was speaking about the Black Lives Movement earlier in the previous video, saying what's happened to it. And we see that this may be an indication of where it's going. That we've got 2 millennials running for office, one on the city council, one as mayor of Detroit, and then one is engaged in a race for mayor in St. Louis. And so again, this is the site. This is the major city of which Ferguson is a suburb. She's saying that St. Louis proper isn't much better. And she's saying that the city politics are more racial than partisan, and that even though St. Louis has had Democratic mayors since the 70s, that certain white Democrats and the few Republicans in the city routinely work together to limit or suppress Black political power. And that's why the city, which is 49% African American for decades, has only been able to elect 2 African American mayors. And so there's a mix-up between this mayoral candidate, who is the current city treasurer. This is Tishaura Jones. She's the current city treasurer, and she's a candidate for mayor. And she's told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, which is the city's major paper, it says in this article that she told them to take several seats, metaphorically, I believe. That she actually submitted an open letter regarding the major newspaper in St. Louis. She sent an open letter to the editor via the African American paper in St. Louis because, in a nutshell, she felt that her coverage from the major paper in the city was very racist and biased against her, and was not a service providing equal coverage to other candidates in the race. And I'm going to let people read the words here. They are very direct. And basically, Tishaura Jones is basically stating her positions, her thoughts, and her feelings, making sure that her voice comes through and doesn't get filtered, apparently, by the major paper. So, Tishaura Jones told The Root that she declined to seek the endorsements of the St. Louis Police Officers Association and the daily newspapers because of their systematic racism and bias in assessing Black political leadership. And so whether she wins the Democratic primary on March 7th, and so that's just around the corner, or not, one thing is clear. The city of St. Louis, its local Democratic Party and press could use a wake-up call. And the author of this article is pointing out that Tishaura Jones is a city treasurer. She's already part of the system. She's an insider. She's not a fringe candidate. She's running on a major party ticket. There's also Jonathan McFarland, who's African American male, running on a Green Party ticket, advocating for homeless and economic issues. And so things are happening in St. Louis. And so, we see that things are moving in certain directions, that the Black Lives Matter has survived. It has transformed, and it's moving in various directions, and this is one, electoral politics. And I support that. I said in a previous video that way back, while the election was still going on in 2016, that the Green Party had opened its doors to Black Lives Matter to participate. Some took up that challenge, others are running independent campaigns, and then some are still sticking with the Democratic Party in an effort to primary certain Democrats or to express concerns, not just identity concerns or race concerns, but also economic concerns, and where those intersect, because they usually do, especially in an urban environment. And there are women who are throwing their caps into the ring, inspired by current events. Maybe they were inspired by Ida B. Wells, but they are inspired. And so we see that there is a transformation, that people are wanting to be the change that they wish to see. I've often spoken till I'm practically blue in the face about the need to pay attention to local and municipal elections, that they should not be overlooked whatsoever at all. And it looks like they are not being overlooked, that people are stepping into not only the, focusing on Washington, but they're paying attention to the midterm elections and even the 2017 elections leading up to the midterms. That they're not leaving any position unchallenged, I hope. And the fact that we've seen so many state machines that have caused much harm to the residents, the communities in which they're supposed to legislate. And that we see for North Dakota what a state political machine can do to its population. The legislation, the rubber stamping of taking sovereign territory, ignoring treaty laws, contaminating water. We've seen that all across the country of what municipal elected officials can do, the harm that they can cause if they are not being watched and being scrutinized. But this is something new and inspired, that may be inspired by Black Lives Matter or other inspirations, but people are doing something about it. They are making efforts, and I like that, and I wish all these candidates well. All across North America, there's mayoral elections in major cities, at least about 20 And I hope that there's more participation, that there's state legislatures holding special elections, that there's elections going on down ballot in Virginia and New Jersey, and that definitely there should be challenges. There are no limits other than what you set for yourself, and certainly Ida B. Wells did not set any limits, and neither should we today. Good luck.